I went to the bookstore today. Haven't been to a bookstore in a few months because things have been closed. And I like to use the library because then they're free and then they go back and someone else can use them. But I like to keep kids' books. And I found one today when I was at the bookstore that I thought was pretty cute. Curious George goes to the bookstore like I did. I wonder if he did the same stuff there that I did. I'm going to find out. I'm going to read this story. Curious George Goes to the Bookstore by Margaret and H.A. Rays. Oh, look, already he's having fun. Now, you can't do that at the bookstore. They don't want you to mess with the books and make houses out of them. That's just silly. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, were going to a grand opening of a bookstore. That means it's opening up for the very first time and everybody gets to come in. Today was kind of like a grand opening for me since it had been closed. It was only the third day they've been open. George's favorite author was going to be signing her latest Penny and the Penguin picture book. He had every penny book she'd ever written. He couldn't wait to meet her. That's kind of a fun thing to do at a bookstore. I did that once. An author comes and you go get their book and they sign it for you. When they arrived at the bookstore, they found a long line that zigzagged between the bookshelves. Let's go this way. We'll purchase the book first and then wait in line to get it signed, said his friend. There are a lot of kids who love Penny and the Penguin. The line inched forward and stopped, inched forward and stopped. George climbed onto his friend's shoulders and tried to take a peek at the author, but he was small and she was hidden in the crowd. It's interesting to see crowds like that right now because with the pandemic going on, everybody's got to stand far away from each other and everybody's wearing masks in the bookstore today. He looked around the bookstore. So many new books. What stories would they hold inside? What funny characters would he meet? Be a good little monkey and don't wander off too far, said the man with the yellow hat, letting George down and picking up a bird watching guide from the nearby shelf. You wouldn't want to miss getting your book signed. A bird watching book. So the man with the yellow hat likes to watch birds. George was happily flipping through storybooks when he noticed the wonderful smell of banana bread. It made his stomach rumble. George was curious. Could there be food in the bookstore? Food and drink were never allowed in the library. George decided to find out. Oh, I like how they show that. This means that there's smells in the air. He's smelling them. And obviously he thinks it's going to taste good because there's his tongue. Meow. As soon as he turned the corner, he discovered glass shelves filled with baked goods instead of books. It was a small cafe. Next to the cabinet was a table with a sign advertising free samples. George watched people help themselves to little squares of banana bread. He took one too. Yum! A little girl saw George and tugged on her father's sleeve. Daddy, look! That monkey likes banana bread too! Yes, I suppose monkeys would enjoy banana bread, he responded, still looking at his book. While George was reaching for another sample, a sample is something free you can get, a little try out of something and see if you like it before you buy some. And then another and another. He saw the little girl and her father leave the cafe area. Tucked into the girl's arm was George's favorite dinosaur book. He decided to follow them. Uh-oh. They led him past a display of dinosaur books in the science area of the store. The display was tall as the man with the yellow hat. It was hard to resist for a little monkey who loves to climb. Oh boy, what do you think's going to happen? George climbed onto the first tier. With so many books to look at, he wasn't sure where to start. He saw his favorite dinosaur book, but he also saw other books. One pictured a Paratorosaurus. eating leaves, and another showed a pterosaurus soaring above waterfalls. During the commercial break, I looked up how to say those two. I still think I messed it up a bit. He climbed up from one tier, that's a shelf or a level, to reach the top. From above, he noticed a stack of boxes in the corner of the store. The boxes were shaped like presents, but the bows and the wrapping paper were missing. Oh, look. It's like, got these boxes down here like presents. Oh, dear. They each contained a stack of newer Penny the Penguin picture books. George leaped down and opened the boxes. George wondered, why were the books in boxes? They should be in the big display like the dinosaur books. George had an idea. George got to work right away. He balanced the books one by one as if he were building them with blocks. People in line marveled at what he was doing, except for the man with the yellow hat, who was engrossed in the new bird-watching guide. Engrossed means he was really involved in it. He was really thinking about it. The tower of books grew and grew and grew, and so did the crowd's amazement. What a wonderful display, said the woman. Wow, look at that, what that monkey made, exclaimed the little boy. Oh my goodness. Curious George is at it again. Stop, shouted the bookseller nearby. You shouldn't have opened those boxes. But George was having too much fun to notice. From the top of his display, George looked down and finally saw the bookseller, the manager, and the man with the yellow hat peering up at him. That monkey opened our boxes for the signing, complained the bookseller. The manager smiled at George. He certainly did. And now we don't have to. I think his tower of books is a masterpiece. The manager asked George if he would like to help with the signing. George was delighted. He would finally get to meet his favorite author. Oh, that's pretty cool. Look at that. Oh, so hard to be backwards. Let's go this way. There we go. She gets to meet his favorite author. George made sure the book was open to the right page, ready for the author's signature. He thought it was funny that her name was Penny, just like the penguin in her books. And she finished signing the last book. Penny turned to George and smiled. Thank you so much for all your help today. It was great to have extra hands and feet, but there's one book I still need to sign. Penny the Penguin and the Polar Bear Cub. To my new friend, George. Keep reading. Signed, Penny. She inscribed the book and handed it to George. Inside, a little note saying, to my new friend, George. Keep reading. George loved his new book. It was special and one of a kind. He'd had such an adventurous day at the bookstore. He couldn't wait to visit again. I had a good time at the bookstore too. I picked out a book for myself. I picked out a couple books for my older grandkids. I picked out this one for my little granddaughter. And then I was thinking about my grandson that's coming. But I also thought about the students. I thought maybe they'd like to see this book too. I hope you guys are having a great day. Bye. Stay curious.